Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from Greedy Tech, and in this video, I'll be unboxing this Redmi Note 8 and giving you a quick hands-on review. You can buy this phone online on Amazon.in and Mi.com, and you can also buy it offline in Mi Homes. This phone starts at 10,000 rupees for 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. Next variant is priced at 13,000 rupees for 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. It's available in 4 colors: Space Black, Cosmic Purple, which by the way is not available right now. Next, it's also available in Neptune Blue and Moonlight White colors. And we have the Space Black color with us right now in the base variant, that's with 4GB of RAM. So guys, now let's have a quick look at the box itself. So this is how the box looks on the front. Looks kinda similar to other Redmi phones as well. At the bottom it says 48 megapixel AI quad camera. And yes, even this phone has a 48 megapixel primary camera. It's not the same as the Redmi Note 7 Pro. This time, Xiaomi is using a 48 megapixel camera from Samsung. Anyway, this is how the phone looks on the front. Nothing impressive. On the left side and on the right side, we have the phone's name once again. And on the back side, we have a quick look at some of the highlighting features. That's mainly the quad camera setup, Snapdragon 665 processor, fast charging support. It also comes with a fast charger inside the box, so that's pretty new. And finally, Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and back. So those were the main highlights, and that's followed by the IMEI numbers, storage information, color information, and so on. So guys, without any further delays, let me just go on with the unboxing. By the way guys, this time I was able to order it on Amazon, but I could only get the black color. I was really trying for the other colors, but they were already out of stock. So once we open the box, we have another cardboard box, which probably has a SIM card ejector. So there we have it, that's the SIM card ejector. And beside that, we also have some documentation. Next, we have a tinted soft silicone case. I'll come back to it later. Next, we have the phone itself in black. Let me just put that aside. Next, we have an 18-watt power adapter. So, for the first time, a Redmi Note phone is coming with a fast charger inside the box. That's pretty cool. And next, we have a USB Type-C charging cable. And these are all the contents of the box. Now let me just put everything aside and come back to the phone itself. So it comes in this plastic cover, and we also get some stickers on the back, mainly the SIM card information. By the way, it has dual SIM along with a dedicated SD card slot. That's pretty good. Next, we have the IMEI number stickers. Now this is how the phone looks on the back without any stickers whatsoever, and this is how it looks on the front with that sticker. I was not expecting that. Let me just remove that as well. So let's do it again. This is how the phone looks on the back without any stickers whatsoever. And this is how the phone looks on the front with an annoying branding at the bottom. So guys, now let's have a quick physical overview. On the back, this phone has a 2.5D curved Corning Gorilla Glass 5 for some additional protection. And as this is a black color, there is no hue or Aurora design going on. It looks pretty plain, just like a mirror finish. Now on the left top corner, we have the camera module with a quad camera setup with a huge camera bump. Beside that, we have the single LED flash and an engraving that says 48MP AI camera. Beside that, we have a circular fingerprint scanner, which is kinda small. And finally, at the bottom, it is a Redmi branding. Not MI, just Redmi branding. Now on the front, we get that massive display with a dot notch. Inside the dot notch, we have the selfie camera, and above that, we have the earpiece. Below the display, it's completely plain with a slightly larger chin and Redmi branding. Now for the sides, on the right side, it has the power and volume buttons, probably made of plastic. They have a nice clicky feel to them and they are sufficiently elevated. At the top, it has the infrared blaster, followed by the secondary microphone for noise cancellation. On the left side, it has just the SIM card tray housing 2 nano SIM slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. Finally, at the bottom, it has a 3.5mm audio jack followed by the primary microphone, USB Type-C charging port, and the mono speaker. Now this phone also has P2I liquid repellent nano coating technology, so it can give you some dust and water protection. It's not IP rating, but still pretty good compared to other Redmi phones. Now this phone has a thickness of 8.35mm and weighs 188 grams. Initial impressions, phone doesn't feel all that thick. If Xiaomi had went with a 3D curve on the back, phone would have felt much more sleeker. And beside that, phone doesn't feel all that heavy either. But the camera bump is definitely pretty huge, and when you place your phone directly on a flat surface without any case, it does wobble a lot. And here's a quick preview of just that. Even when you try to type, it's gonna move and it's gonna wobble. Now let's try out the free case that we get inside the box. So guys, this is how the phone looks with the case on. Now this case is a soft silicone case. It's pretty sleek and doesn't add any weight to the phone, and it doesn't give you a lot of protection either. It can give you some extra grip and prevent smudges, but that's all. It has a tiny bit of raised lip for the display and even for the camera module, but the protection it offers is almost negligible, so I would definitely suggest you to get a better case as soon as possible. By the way, with this case on, buttons are not that clickable, they are slightly hard to press now, and you also get this flap for the charging port, which can give you some additional protection. Now these are the complete specifications. On the rear, this phone has a quad camera setup with an 8MP ultra wide angle camera with 120° field of view with f2.2 aperture. That's followed by a 48MP primary camera with f1.79 aperture from Samsung with GM1 sensor. That's followed by a 2MP depth sensor for taking portrait shots and another 2MP macro lens with f2.4 aperture for taking macro shots. For selfies, it is a 13MP camera with f2.0 aperture. On the front, it is a 6.3-inch IPS display with a dot notch, Full HD Plus resolution and 450 nits of brightness. Under the hood, it sports a Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 processor with Adreno 610 GPU with 4GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 64GB of internal storage. Right out of the box, it will be running MIUI 10 based on Android Pie, and it will be receiving MIUI 11 update pretty soon. Finally, powering this device is the same old 4000 mAh battery that supports fast charging, but this time you also get an 18W fast charger inside the box. So guys, those were the complete specifications. Now let me turn on the phone, set it up, and come back to you in a second. So guys, this is how the phone looks once we turn it on and set it up. This is the default launcher and this is the default wallpaper that we get. And just like other previous Redmi phones, there is no app drawer, so all the applications are thrown onto the home screen. Now these are all the apps that come pre-installed, and there is definitely quite a bit of bloatware. So if there is any application that you don't use, uninstall them as soon as possible. Now let's check the free RAM. So out of that 4GB of RAM, we get about 2.2GB of RAM free right out of the box. And as for storage, out of that 64GB of space, we get about 48.29GB of space for our user apps and user data, which is definitely more than sufficient for most people. And if you still need more storage, we also have a dedicated SD card slot. So that's pretty cool. Now this is the about page. This phone is running MIUI version 10.3 based on Android version 9, that's Android Pie, with the September security patch. So that's pretty latest. Now let's see the camera interface. For the most part, it looks pretty similar to other Redmi phones or previous Redmi phones, mainly the Redmi Note 7. But over here we have a toggle and by default it's set to 1x zoom. Right now we are using the 48MP camera and this is the preview, and if you click it over here, you get 2x digital zoom. This phone doesn't have a telephoto lens, so this 2x zoom is a digital zoom. It's just like doing a pinch to zoom gesture. Now if you click this button again, it will take us to the wide angle camera. Now this is the wide angle camera. Now here's a quick preview. This is the wide angle camera. This is the primary camera and this is 2x digital zoom. Now to take macro shots, you have a toggle over here. Just click that and now we can take macro shots with a pretty close subject as well. So that's a macro shot. Now on the right side we also have a dedicated 48MP mode. So just like other Redmi phones, this phone also uses the pixel binning concept where it merges data from 4 pixels into 1 pixel. In that process, even though this phone has a 48MP camera, you get a 12MP picture. But for some reason if you want a 48MP picture, you can use this mode. Next we have portrait mode, and on this phone we can also change the amount of background blur effect you want before taking a portrait shot, which is a pretty new feature. Next we have a dedicated night mode to take better pictures in low lighting conditions. Next we have panorama and pro mode. Now if you go to the left side, we have video recording, and we can record video with the primary camera or else even with the wide angle camera. With the primary camera, we can record video at a maximum of 4K resolution at 30fps. We can also record the video at 1080p and 720p, but once again only at 30fps. There is no 60fps option on this phone. Now if we switch to the wide angle camera, we can only record video at a maximum of 1080p at 30fps. Besides that, we also have macro video recording, and to enable that, just click this toggle. In this mode, we can only record video at 720p resolution. By the way, this phone also has electronic image stabilization, and here's a toggle for that. It's enabled by default. Now on the left side we have other features like short video and finally slow motion video recording. On this phone we can record video in slow motion at 120fps and 240fps. That's it. Now let's check out the front camera. Now this is the interface for the front camera. Initial impressions, front camera doesn't look that impressive. By the way, you get AI mode for both the front and rear cameras, so that's kind of great deal for Xiaomi. Next we have portrait mode over here. That's for portrait selfies, and once again we can also change the amount of background blur effect you get even for portrait selfies. So that's pretty cool. Now for video recording, we can record video at a maximum of 1080p resolution using the front camera. Now these are some sample pictures. Cameras on this phone are pretty good for the price, but they're not the best in the price segment. Especially the front facing camera is not that impressive. It's better than the previous Redmi Note 7, but still not great enough. Now let's test the speaker loudness.
You don't even try, still I'm better with than without you. Oh, I'm on it, I want it, but why do you seem to call it your...
So guys, that was the speaker test, and speaker on this phone is sufficiently loud for media consumption, ringtones and alarms. It's not the loudest I've heard in the price segment, but it is pretty loud and definitely satisfactory. Now let's test the fingerprint scanner. I already set it up and here we go. Fingerprint scanner is fast, but as the fingerprint scanner is almost flush to the back, it's kinda hard to trace, especially without a case. Overall, fingerprint scanner is usable. It's fast but not as fast as the Oppo and Vivo phones. It's still pretty usable. Now let's test the face unlock feature. Here we go. Face unlock also works well in good lighting conditions. It is kinda fast, not super fast. Probably takes like a second to unlock the phone. Now let me just turn off the lights and see if it works. In low lighting conditions, it is struggling a bit. In low lighting conditions, it does work, but it's taking quite a bit of time. Probably like 2 to 3 seconds or maybe 1 or 2 seconds. If I had a different wallpaper, it might be a bit more faster. Now let's test it in complete darkness. And in complete darkness, it seems to be not working at all. Let's try it again. It worked. I just brought my face a little closer. It worked continuously twice. It's working somehow. And it's not working again. So guys, that was face unlock. In good lighting conditions, it is usable, it is fast. Even in low lighting conditions and in complete darkness, it works, but it is pretty slow. And sometimes you also have to come a little closer to your phone. Now let's see some of the new features offered in this phone. First, we have the dark mode. To enable that, we need to go to the display settings. Just go to settings, then select display. Now over here, we have the toggle for dark mode. And once you do that, this is how the dark mode looks like. This is your notification area, these are your notification toggles, and this is the recent apps page. So that's dark mode. This is something you should definitely try. Next, we also get digital well-being, which allows you to track your usage on your phone, and you also get a feature called wind down, which will help you sleep faster at night by turning on do not disturb mode automatically. And you also get this grayscale mode, which simply makes the screen black and white to hint you to sleep faster at night. So these are the two new features on this phone. Now before I conclude, these are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. So guys, this is the Redmi Note 8. When you compare it with the Redmi Note 7, yes, there is a bit of an upgrade. You get an extra camera, you get better performance, but that's it. There isn't anything majorly different from the previous Note 7 to the Note 8. In fact, it sticks to the same boring design with a 2.5D curved glass on the front and back, once again from the Corning, and this time they went with a much bigger camera bump which looks pretty annoying, and cameras have also improved. And this time, Xiaomi is also bundling in a fast charger inside the box. Yes, this is an upgrade from Redmi Note 7, but there isn't anything awesome about this phone to make me feel excited. It feels pretty boring. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you are planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from Greedy Tech signing off. Have a nice day.